supposed to be a dialogue between us. You know what a dialogue is? A conversation between two people. So you are going to question me, question the speaker. We're going to have a discussion, a deliberation. That word deliberation means to take counsel together, to weigh together, to consider together, to balance things together. It's not one person's answer your questions or your queries, but rather together we are going to have a conversation. Probably you're not used to this, to really talk to somebody openly, frankly. Probably never do, even to our wives or husbands or somebody closely related. We never talk openly, frankly. We put on a lot of masks, pretend. If we could put aside all that this morning and consider what questions we have, what we like to talk over together, what is you are most concerned with, not just some absurd stuff, but rather what you are really want to find out. So we are going to have a deliberation. That word means to weigh together, balance, take counsel with each other, to consider with each other. Not the speaker considers and then you agree or disagree. That's all childish. So, can we this morning talk over together as though we're really true friends? Not that I'm sitting on a platform, because platform indicates somebody high up. It generally is more convenient so that we can see each other. So, before we begin to discuss, how do you approach a question? You understand what I'm asking? How do you regard a question, a problem? How do you weigh the problem? How do you come very close to the problem? So we're going to consider together, whatever the question, however silly the question is, however absurd the question is, we're going to talk about together. Is that clear? Right? We can't expect the speaker to answer your questions, because in the question itself may be the answer. You understand? Not you put a question to me and then I answer you. That's rather meaningless. But how do you regard a question? What's your approach to the question? How do you consider, weigh back, take account of the question? Because in the question itself may be the answer, not question and then wait for an answer. So, whatever the question we are going to discuss this morning, let us examine the question first, not wait for an answer. You understand, sir? Have we understood this fact, or is it too mysterious? I've got a question for you. Question, I'm not going to answer it. Why do you separate life, the living, daily living, from your ideas of the spiritual? Why do you divide the two? May I put that question? Right? Why do we separate so-called religious life, all the monks and the robes and all that, and the daily monotonous lonely life? Why do we separate? You answer my question. Because? I can't hear you.
It's a different kind of energy.
So you want energy? Is that it?
No, spiritual life and mundane life, they involve different kinds of energy. One is mechanical.
He says spiritual life needs a different kind of energy.
He says spiritual life and ordinary mundane life, they involve two different kinds of energies.
No, never. That is, two different kinds of energy. One for a so-called spiritual religious life, and the other, the mundane life, another kind of energy. Now, I'm not going to answer the question. Let's find out if what you're saying is a fact. Right? Is it a fact? You state this. You say that those people who are religious, put on these funny robes, need quite a different kind of energy than a man who travels around, makes money and all the rest of it. Or the poor man in the village. Why do you divide the two? Energy is energy, right? Whether it be the electric energy, or the motor-driven energy, or the solar energy, right, sir? The energy of a river in flood, energy, right? You have the energy to come here, energy to go for a walk, energy to do all kind of funny things you do. So, why do you divide energy? Is that the man with a beard, strange clothes, has he more energy? Or he is trying to concentrate his energy on a particular issue? You understand, sir? Energy is energy. Hydroelectric energy, piston energy in a car, the dynamo energy, the solar energy, right? They're all energy. And they?
Isn't the energy, some energy which we call thought or will, which can end? There is another energy which is we call insight, which will not end but flower into awareness. There is another energy which we call mind, which is in the beginning also as mind, even after the me has ended, it is also mind, but that mind is in compassion, in virtue, in order. So energy of the mind remains throughout, energy of the thought ends, and the energy of insight, if it it vanishes the energy of the thought and still it remains.
I wish,
Aren't that three
sir,
different
would you mind making this, your statement short?
He is saying that there are various kinds of energy. One is energy of thought, which can be stilled. There is another energy of insight, which does not get stilled. And there is another energy of mind, which brings about compassion and other things.
Certainly not. We are just, sir, we are talking over. I'm not laying down the law. Would you mind listening?
the relationship of three energies?
What?
The relationship of the three aspects of the
The
energy.
relationship of the three aspects of energy, of thought, of insight, and of mind.
You answer it. Why not? You have perfect right to answer him.
I feel that on the contrary, it's just because we are comfortable and easy and simply save energy. We don't want to use it. That is why we divide the two sides.
Sir,
Sir, just a minute, sir. Have the courtesy to listen to somebody first.
She says that just because we want to be comfortable, therefore we divide energy into various compartments.
I don't feel there can be many types of energy. Energy can be only one.
Yeah, I should have thought so myself. You see how we divide everything? We divide spiritual energy, mental energy, the energy of insight, the energy of thought.
It is unnecessary complication.
I know it complicates it, doesn't it? Why not be very simple about it? Energy of the body, the energy of sex, the energy of thought, it's all energy. It's one thing, only we divide it. Why? Find out, madam, why do we divide it?
We are conditioned to divide it.
Huh?
We are conditioned.
He says we are conditioned to divide it.
Yes. Now, sir, why are you conditioned? Why do you accept this? Division, you understand, sir? India, Pakistan, Russia, America, why do you divide all this? Tell me.
It's a reality.
Huh?
It's a reality.
Because of some illusion.
He says it's a reality. This division is a reality.
Of course it's a reality. You go to war.
But there is
Why
a
do you
difference
make
between,
obvious statements, sir?
there is a difference between truth and the reality. So spiritual life, spiritual or the real life.
He says there is a difference between the truth and the reality.
All right. What do you call reality?
What we see.
What?
What we see.
Therefore, you say reality is right in front of you, right? What you see, visually, optically. Is the tree a reality?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is what you think a reality?
Sometime we have to.
Is your wife a reality? Huh?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by a wife?
She is in real life.
No, I'm asking you a question. What do you mean by my wife?
That's a psychological factor.
What do you mean psychology? Sir, we haven't finished that question. All right, sir.
want to say?
There is a psychological attitude that I have towards my wife, and there is the reality of wife who has her own psychology.
So are you saying, sir, if I may put it in my own words, you will allow me to put my own words? The image of your wife, the image that you have built up, is different from the wife. Is that it?
Could be.
And what do you mean could be?
Suppose the wife is fitting an image most of the time that she is like not an alive person, then actually my image will coincide with the reality of the wife.
It may happen sometimes that the image coincides with the reality of what my wife is.
Have you looked at your wife? Have you seen her? Inquired of her ambitions, her pain, her anxiety, her bearing the pain of children and all the rest of it? Have you considered what the wife is? Or you may have lived with her for 10 or 5 or 50 years. You have built an image about her, haven't you? Right? Right, sir?
Not necessarily.
Well, I do not say necessary or unnecessary. Is it a fact that you have, if you are married, or if you have some friend, you build an image about her, don't you? Not necessarily, but it takes place. Right? Right, sir? I'm not trying to browbeat you, sir, but each one has an image about the other. You have an image about me, haven't you? No, sir? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So, we create an image about another depending on our temperament, depending on our knowledge, depending on our illusions, depending on our fantasies and so on. We build an image about people. You have an image of the Prime Minister, you have an image about the person who is speaking to you. So, we're asking a much more deeper question, which is, can you live a daily life without images? Sir, you are the chairman, you better come up here.
These images that we build up, they are generally in relationship with ourselves. I build up an image around me.
Yes, you have an image about yourself.
Yes. And if we can achieve that state which you have been talking about, facing the center, facing the self, then the images would automatically drop. If we can live.
Is that all? You finished?
Yes.
He is saying that we have an image about ourselves.
Oh, sure.
But if we
Not
can...
about ourselves. All images we build in relationship to ourselves.
Yes.
Even the image of the
Of course,
wife
of
Yes,
course.
yes.
is in relationship to me.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And if we can develop that state of which you talk, in which the self is dropped, then without the image, one
You-
can live.
So, when you talk about relationship, what do you mean there by that word?
By the way, relationship,
Sir, please just listen quietly first before you answer. Take a little breather. What is your relationship with another? Relationship. You understand the word relation? Just listen, sir. To be related. I'm related to him. He's my father, my brother, my sister, whatever it is. What do you mean by that word, relationship? Careful, sir. Don't be so quick. Go slow, we've got plenty of time. You understand the word relationship? To be related, either through blood, you understand? He's my father, my brother. We have come out of the same womb. My father and my mother produced us. And what do you mean by that word, relation?
I was not using the word relationship in that sense.
Huh?
I was not using the word relationship in that sense.
I'm talking in that sense.
Please come again. Can you repeat it slowly?
Relationship is my care, my concern about my parents, my anxiety about my friends, my beautiful image about me. All that is
My care and concern for my friends, for my parents, for my children.
even hatred towards my
Hatred, including hatred, all that includes.
Do you really care for or is just an idea that you should care? Sir, did you understand, sir, if I may politely ask you, what do you mean by the word, to be related? Not what you give meaning to it. The meaning, according to the dictionary, what do you mean by that word related?
Textual context, sir.
Huh?
Textual context. Context is actual, not through images or words.
Contact through the actual, not through words or images.
So I'm asking you a question. Don't kick it around. I'm asking most respectfully, what do you mean by related? I am related to him. What does that mean?
May I answer? I think that when I say I'm related, I become a part of it.
Are you a part of your wife?
Yes.
Huh?
As part of the relationship.
You
If I
see-
understand the total relationship.
I know, not total or partial. I'm asking some most politely, what do you mean by that word related?
So being associated with the day-to-day life.
Just I'm close to the person.
So you actually means to get connected.
Huh?
Well, usually means a network of expectations from each other, obligations and duties.
Please come again. Please repeat.
Usually what we mean by relationship in daily life is a network of expectations from each other, our duties and obligations to us.
A network of expectations from each other, duties and obligations. That
Oh, God.
constitutes it.
You make it so very complex, don't you?
So actually it's
I'm just, if you'll kindly listen, I'm asking you, what do you mean by that word? Per se, for itself, not what you think it should be. Do I need interpreter?
To have something in
Sir,
common.
we're talking in English, aren't we? Right? Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
We are talking in English. I don't know Hindi or in Indian language. I only know some European languages. But the word relation has a great significance. I am asking you, if I may, What do you mean by that word?
To have something in common.
Oh God, people repeat. All right, sir, let him shout.
Sir, if I have not image about you, then I have a relationship with you.
Do you have a relationship with me?
That kind.
Huh?
Yes.
In what way? I'm asking this seriously, sir. Don't throw it aside.
When I am looking you without any image, so I have a relationship at that moment with you.
You really haven't thought about it, sir. We are just throwing out words.
I think we are diverted from the main exact question, the spiritual and this real life about
He
division
says
between.
we have diverted from the original question of division between the spiritual and
I know. I'm not so dumb as I look. So, sir, let's get back. I'll come back to this word. It's a very important word in our life. Why do we divide the spiritual and the mundane? Just listen, sir. Please just listen. We divide India against Pakistan, right? We divide various religions, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and so on. Divide. Why? Don't just look at it, sir. We're taking counsel together. We are looking at the same problem together. You understand, sir? Why do we divide? Because there is a division between man and woman. You are tall, I'm short. Or I'm tall, you're thin. Whatever it is. Right? But that's natural, isn't it? You got tall or brown or white or pink or yellow. I happen to be black. All right. But that's according to the sun, according to heritage, and so on. Genetic issues, I won't go into all that. So, why do we divide?
Because we have different ideas and different feelings and different interests, and we want to stick to them.
Why do you want to stick to them?
Because we are selfish.
Huh?
We are selfish and we have self-interest.
Beg pardon?
We are selfish.
No,
and we have self-interest.
don't reduce everything to selfishness. Why do we divide, I'm asking?
There is some inherent fear in us.
No, I said that.
Because we seek security in the village.
We have to divide because when I don't have an image of my wife, I am being spiritual. And when she is violent towards me, she is being real. So that's it.
He says that we have to divide because when I do not have an image about my wife, I am being spiritual. But when she is violent, she is being real. So there is a division between the real and the spiritual.
Yes, sir.
Sir, the energy is one.
Huh?
The fundamental energy is one. When that fundamental energy bombards any atom, any matter, it splits up into scattered energy. The scattered energy has different properties. We have collected the psychological matter which splits up the fundamental energy into the scattered energy. Due to the scattering of the energy, we have collected different ideas. The psychological matter we have collected, and that is responsible for our division.
Sir, he says that energy as such is different from the scattered energy. When an atom is bombarded by energy, the atom gets scattered. And the scattered energy has properties different from the whole energy with which the atom is bombarded. Similar thing happens in the psychological field.
Which is that what?
Which means that different kinds of energies manifested in psychological fields are different from each other.
So, who is dividing all this? Who is dividing all these various forms of energies?
The mind itself first divides into the inner perception and then the outer perception. After dividing
Sir,
itself into the inner...
is that your experience? Or are you quoting somebody?
Half.
Could we please be serious for a while and face these facts? Why have we divided the world first around us? You understand? Pakistan, India, Europe and India, America and Russia, and so on. Who has done all these divisions?
I think it is ego.
What?
What have done?
I think it is ego. We want our separate identity.
He says it is ego, he says it is thought.
Are you guessing? Are you guessing? Why don't we look at the fact first? We have different ideologies, different beliefs. One section of the world believes in Jesus, the other section believes in Allah, some other section believes in the Buddha, other section believes in something else. Who has done all these divisions?
It is we mankind.
Huh?
It is we mankind.
That means you. Huh?
Yes, sir.
You have divided the world.
Yes, sir.
Why?
We have inherited.
No, sir, just listen, please listen. Why have you divided?
Because of fear.
Huh?
Security.
What?
Fear, security.
Fear. What?
Fear and security.
What?
Fear and security.
Fear and security.
Are you sure what you're saying? Oh, don't point to him.
He says, sir. He says it.
Yes.
Repeating what he says.
What do you say?
We divide ourselves because we get pleasure to divide.
What?
We divide ourselves because we derive pleasure from this division.
If you have also being killed by another party, is that also pleasure? You don't face.
Our identity. We want to keep our identity. That's why we different.
You want identity. Identity with what?
Identity. I am I.
No, lady, I'm asking you, when you say identity with what?
I want to be related.
No, I'm asking you a question, lady. You want to be identified, don't you? Have identity. Now, with what? With the earth? Oh, my God. You move from, you see.
Because every human being wants to prove that I am better than the other one.
Right, quite right. Then what?
That's the reason.
No, sir. Now look, just would you listen? Would you listen for a few minutes, sir? The world has divided itself, right? Europe, America, Russia, India, Muslim, right? That's a fact. Who has divided it? Don't make casual remarks, sir, because it's not an entertainment. I'm not here to entertain you. So if you'll kindly listen, I'm asking you a question. Who has divided the world into this? Sir, would you listen quietly for a minute? Has not man done this? You have done it. Because you say, I'm a Hindu, or a Muslim, or a Sikh, or some other sect, right? Who has done all this? Man, hasn't it? Man. Man wants security. So he says, I belong to Buddhism. Right? That gives me identity, that gives me strength, that gives me a sense of a place where I can stay. Right? So, what is the basis of this? You understand my question, sir? Why do we do this? Is it for security? Because if I lived in a world as a Hindu, in a world of Muslims, they would kick me around, right? Or if I lived as a Protestant in Rome, I would find it awfully difficult, right? Because Rome is the center of all Catholicism, right? So I'm saying to you, sir, if I may politely request you, who has done all this? This colossal mess, you understand? You, right? You have done it, he has done it, and she has done it. And what do we do about it? Just talk about it? So you stop, that's all. You don't want to act. You say, let's carry on.
The other day, sir, you observe that you have no intention whatever to help us. But we find that you are here to help us and we get the right help from you.
What's that?
He says, you have no intention to help us, but when we are here, we find that you help us. How does that happen?
Too bad. I don't want to help anybody. It's wrong to help another, except surgically, food, and so on. I am not, the speaker is not your leader. Right? He has said it 1,000 times. All over Europe, America, and here. No, we are having a conversation together. In that conversation, we begin to see things clearly for ourselves, for you. Therefore, nobody is helping you. It's a conversation.
Sir, my question. Why there is so much of...
Sir, did you hear what I said? No, don't be. Yes, sir. But did you hear what I said? That the speaker is not here to help you in any way. Right, sir? He's not your guru. You're not his follower. All that the speaker says is an abomination. Right, sir? That's all. Sir, just half a more. He's there.
Let him.
Why there is so much of cruelty in nature that one living being has to eat another living being for its survival?
Why is there so much cruelty in nature that one being has to eat another in order to survive?
Is that your question, sir? A tiger lives on the smaller things, right?
Yes, sir.
So the small thing, big things eat little things,
Yes, sir.
right? And you are asking, nature is very, what was the word?
Violent.
Nature is cruel.
No, sir. Why there is so much of cruelty in nature?
Why is there so much of cruelty in nature?
First of all, why is there so much cruelty in human beings? Not in nature, of course, that's natural, perhaps. Why are you so cruel? Not saying there's cruelty in nature. Why are human beings cruel?
I want to get rid of my pain and sorrow. When someone hurts me, I become healed.
I want to get rid of my pain and sorrow. Therefore, if anybody hurts me, I also react or respond in a similar manner.
Sir, have you ever considered that all human beings suffer? All human beings in the world, right?
I know, sir. I suffer for certain.
You're a human being, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm saying all human beings suffer.
Yes, sir.
Whether they live in Russia, America, China, India, Pakistan, whatever, all human beings suffer.
Yes, sir.
Now, how do you solve that suffering?
How do you solve that suffering?
I am interested in my own suffering.
So I am interested in my own suffering.
What are you doing about it?
I have come to be enlightened by you.
I have come here to be enlightened by you.
What shall we do together, sir? What shall we do together? Together. Not I help you or you help me. What shall we do together to rid of sorrow?
I don't know, sir.
Don't you really know?
Beg your pardon?
Don't you really know?
I don't know, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Huh? No. Be careful answer, sir. This is a very serious question. Are you sure you don't know how to be free of sorrow?
Yes, sir, I am sure I do not know.
Huh?
Yes,
You
sir.
don't know.
I don't know how to get rid of pain and sorrow.
Just me. Remain in that state. Would you listen, sirs, please? He asked a very serious question. He said, I really don't know how to be free of sorrow. Right? I don't know. When you say I don't know, is it that you're waiting to know? You understand my question, sir?
Yes, sir.
I don't know, but I may be expecting some kind of answer. Therefore, when I'm expecting, I step out of not knowing. He hasn't understood.
He says, when we are expecting an answer, we have moved away from the field of not knowing, in quotes. And he says, stay in not knowing.
Stay in not knowing.
What?
He says, what does that mean?
I will tell you what it means. I'm not helping you. I'm not helping you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, that's a very serious matter when you say, I'm not helping you. Because we have been helped for so many 1,000 years. Well, never mind. When you say, I don't know, what does that mean? I don't know what Mars is. You know Mars, the star. I don't know. So, do I go to that to find out?
If I am interested.
What?
No, I don't go there to find out.
So I don't know what Mars is. He is a neurophysicist, astrophysicist. I go to him to find out what Mars is. Oh, for God's sake, sir.
But I am not interested in Mars.
not interested in Mass, nor am I. But I'm taking that as an example. I don't know what Mass is. And I go to an astrophysicist, he is, and I go to him and say, sir, tell me what Mass is. And he tells me the Mass is various combinations of gas and all the rest of it. And I said, that's not Mass. Your description of Mass is different from Mass, right? So I say to ask you, sir, most respectfully, when you say I don't know, what do you mean by that? I don't know. I'm not waiting for an answer, right? Which may be crooked, which may be false, which may be illusory, therefore I'm not expecting. Are you in that state? I don't know.
We
So,
are stunned.
huh?
We are stunned when we remain in the state.
What's that?
We are stunned when we remain in that state.
Remain in that state. I don't know how to swim the Ganga.
I can't
So-
do anything about it.
Huh?
I can't do anything about it.
I can't do anything about it.
You can't. When you don't know what is the cause of suffering, right? How can it be ended, you don't know. Right, sir? So, remain in that state and find out. Sir, just a minute, sir. When you put a question, you expect an answer, don't you? Huh? Be honest, sir. Be simple. So you expect a question from a book, from another person, or from some philosopher and so on, right? Somebody to tell you the answer, right? Would you put a question and listen to the question? You understand what I'm saying? I put to you a question. I've forgotten what it was. Let me think of another. Why has Kashi become so important? Right? You understand my question? Why has Kashi, which is this place, this land, why do you consider it important? Answer it, sir.
Because of its ancient temples.
What?
Because of its ancient temples.
Right. In Jerusalem, in Israel, you know, they have found a town, a building, 8,000 years old. Would you go and worship there?
No,
Why?
because this place also it is scripture. The old sadhus, old gurus are lived here.
Who?
Old gurus, old sadhus have lived here, so I do that.
So have there, so they have two there. In Israel, they have gurus, priests and kings. 8,000 years old. Why don't you go there and worship?
There people are worship.
What?
There are people there to worship.
You're not thinking. You're quite truthful. You're quite right. So, when you put a question, would you wait for the question to reveal itself? You understand? I'm asking you most politely. I put a question. I know if I can understand the question properly, I find the answer, right? So, the answer may be in the question. You're not listening. You're bored, are you, sir? Huh?
Not at all.
Would you experiment with what I'm saying?
Yes.
Will you really do it? That is, I put a question to you. Don't try to find an answer, but find out if the question, you have understood the question, the depth of the question, or the superficiality of the question, the meaningless of the question, right? Would you look at the question first, take time, or you're ready to answer? So I'm suggesting, sir, if you put a question to the speaker says, the question itself has vitality, energy, not the answer. Because the answer is in the question. Right? Find out. Sir, did you hear what I said? Huh? Have you understood what I said, sir? No, don't be nervous. You can say, go to hell, it's all right. I'm asking you a very simple fact. You ask me a question, and I say to you, in the question is the answer. The question contains the answer. Would you listen, sir, please? You can ask your question afterwards, sir. Will you do that? No, don't say weakly, yes. Just find out, sir, this is very important. What, sir? You're belching?
Yes?
Intelligent mind can put a right question. I think I am not intelligent at all. How I have to put a right question?
He says, an intelligent mind can put a right question. I feel I am not intelligent at all. So how can I ask right question?
You can't. But you can find out why you are not intelligent. I can find out why I'm not intelligent. He's intelligent, I'm not. Why? Is intelligent dependent on comparison? You understand, sir? No, they don't. Sir? Did you listen to my question?
Many times we find an answer to our question, but we require somebody else's approval of that answer.
So, the answer is not important, but approval of another is important.
Correct answer is important. Therefore, approval is important.
What?
He says, not the lady who asked the question, but another gentleman says that correct answer is important and therefore approval of the correct answer is required.
By who? By your friends who are equally unintelligent? By whom do you want the approval? Public opinion? The governor, the prime minister, or the high priest? From whom are you wanting approval? Sir, you don't think at all, you just repeat.
Going to the first question, I remain with the question that I don't know, and it is task to be with the question, to find out.
He says that I remain with the situation I don't know, but it is tiresome.
Why is it tiresome?
I try to find out.
Don't try to find out. Here is a question. Why has man you and the world, why have we made such a mess of the world? Mess of our lives, mess of other people's lives. You understand, sir? It's a mess. It's a confusion. Why? Madam, would you kindly listen for a minute? I'm talking to that gentleman. Why has human beings throughout the world made such a mess of the world? You understand, sir? Why? Don't listen to the question, go into the question. You understand, sir? Have you held ever in your hand a marvelous jewel? Jewel. Priceless jewel. You look at it, don't you? You look at it, see the intricacies of it, how beautifully it's put together. What extraordinary skill has gone into it. Right? The silversmith must have marvelous hands. That jewel is very important, right? You look at it, you cherish it, you put it away and occasionally look at it, don't you?
I want to have it.
Yes, you have it in your hands, sir. I am saying you look at it. Your marvelous picture painted by somebody or other, and you look at it. It's in your room, it's yours. You just don't hang it there, forget it. You look at it. In the same way, if I ask you a question, look at it, listen to the question. But we are so quick to answer it, so impatient. So I'm suggesting, sir, most respectfully, look at it, take time, weigh it, see the beauty of the question. Or it may be utterly an unimportant question, right? Do it, sir. Then you will find the question itself is a tremendous energy.
Sir, he wants to ask a question.
Why we do not change?
Why do we not change? Why do we not change? That is the question.
Why, sir? Why don't you change?
I don't know, but I don't change.
I don't know, but I don't change.
Are you satisfied where you are?
No.
Then change.
The question of violence that we were discussing. Now, suppose there is a teacher in the class and some children are naughty. And to end the naughtiness, he has to punish them. Should he go through with the punishment?
That is your question? There is a teacher in a class in which some boy is naughty. In order to put it right, he has to punish him. Should he go through that exercise of punishment?
And violence.
Which means violence.
What do you mean by the word violence? Don't be quick, sir. What do you mean by violence? Hitting each other? Would you call that violence? I hit you. Just listen, sir, please. I hit you, you hit me back. That's a form of violence, isn't it? The grown-up person hits his child. That's a form of violence. Killing another is a form of violence. Harassing another, you know what that word means? That's a form of violence. Trying to imitate another, is a form of violence. Right? Would you agree to that? Imitate, conform to the pattern of another. That's violence. Right? Right, sir? Wait, sir. Are you listening to what I'm saying? So, I'm asking you, psychological violence and physical violence, right? So how will you stop it? You, don't say people. You, how will you stop it? That's it.
Sir, if even I have understood...
Have you listened to what I said? Sir, please have the courtesy, politeness to listen to somebody else's question and all, right? Don't always say, keep everybody out, but with your own problem.
Sir, why is there a variety in nature?
What?
Why is there variety in nature?
Why?
Why?
Why is there a variety in nature?
Thank God. Why do you bother about nature? Huh? Why are you bother? Why are you concerned with nature?
I am seeing.
Huh?
I am seeing the variety.
So I'm seeing the variety.
Don't you see the variety here?
Even outside.
Huh?
Even outside I see.
I see, even out.
What are you going to do about it?
I want to know why it is there.
So I would request you kindly to study yourself first. You understand? To know yourself first. But you know about everything outside you. But you know nothing about yourself, right? So, this has been an old question, sir. The Greeks have put it in their own way. The Egyptians, the ancient, and the ancient Hindus have said too. Know yourself first. Right? Will you start with that? Huh? Me.
Sir, I have been putting a question to myself. Why am in bondage of physical pain, hunger, sex, physical? Why am I in this bondage? I am always asking this question to myself, but I am not getting any answer.
I am always putting this question to myself, why I am in the bondage of physical pain. I keep on asking this question, but I don't get any answer.
You may be going to the wrong doctor. So I know people who go from doctor to doctor to doctor. Right? They have plenty of money, so they trot around from one doctor to another. Do you do that? Or is it psychological pain?
Physical and as well as psychological.
What?
Physical also and psychological also.
Which is important. Just which is important.
Beg your pardon?
Which is important?
Which is the greater pain?
When the physical pain is extreme, it is surely important.
When the physical pain is extreme, surely it is the physical pain that is
Yes,
important.
I know all that, but I'm asking you, sir, politely, to what pain do you give importance?
I find myself
So,
in bondage.
so you haven't answered my question. To what importance do you give?
When I am, at the moment when I am suffering, I give importance to that.
You haven't answered my question, sir, have you? You haven't answered my question, have you? I'm asking you, which is more important, the psychological pain or the physical pain? pain of fear, pain of loneliness, pain of anxiety, pain of sorrow, and so on. All that is the psyche. Now, to what do you give importance? To the psyche or to physical pain?
Psyche.
What?
Psyche.
Do you really?
Yes, sir.
Are you being obstinate, sir? So if you're giving importance to the psychological pain, who is going to be the doctor? Huh?
I.
What do you mean I? You are the pain. You're not different from I. I is made up of pain, anxiety, boredom, loneliness, fear, pleasure. It's all that is the I. Well, sir, about so there's a question here. Sorry, it's all rather messy.
Sir, can I?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. You don't listen to anybody, do you? Why bother to listen to me?
Sir, even I have understood the urgency of to remain aware. Why it is so that I remain a few times in the day aware?
If I have understood that there is urgency to be aware all the time, how is it that I remain in that state only for a very short while during the day?
Because you don't understand what it means to be aware. Sir, this is a question. Gosh, did I go into all this muck? It's a fact that the various centers of KFI constantly and continuously stress and spread saying that they are the center of case teaching. So now when we have namely Buddhist teaching, Christ teaching, and Krishnamurti teaching, are this so-called teaching of K going to meet the same fate as has happened with the Buddhists, with Buddha and Christ? You've understood the question?
Yes.
Are you bored with the question? I don't mind. I'm bored with myself. Sir, we thought, Kay has thought a great deal about the word teaching. We thought of using the word work. Iron works, bridge building work, hydroelectric work. You understand? So I thought work is very, very common, right? So he thought he might use the word teaching, but it's not important, the word, right? Your question is, will the teachings of the Buddha, which nobody knows, I've asked them, the original teachings of the Buddha, nobody knows. And Christ may exist, may not have existed. That's a tremendous problem, whether he existed at all. We've discussed with great scholars about that. I won't go into it. And will case teaching also disappear like the rest? Right? You have understood the question? Right? Right, sir?
I'm not.
Of course you have not said it. Somebody has written it. Therefore it's interesting. Questioner says, probably you also think, that when K goes as we must go, depart, what will happen to the teaching? Will it go like the Buddha's teaching, which is corrupt, which is, what's happening? Will the same fate await you? Right? You've understood the question? It depends upon you. Right? Not upon somebody else. It depends upon you, how you live it, how you think about it, what it means to you. If it means nothing except words, then it'll go the way of the rest. Right? If it means something very deep to you personally, then it won't be corrupted. Right? You understand, sir? It won't be corrupted. So it's up to you, not up to the centers and information centers and all the rest of that business. It depends upon you, whether you live the teaching or not.
Hasn't the truth its own power?
It has, if you let it alone.
That question was put by me. May I clear the question, what I mean by that?
Go ahead.
The question was written by me.
Good.
And it was sent to you yesterday. Because I was not sure that if I give to the authorities of this place, they will send this question to you. That is why I put it in an envelope, because many of the questions, your people, they do not hand over to you. Yes, that is a fact.
Yes,
so what I did was, I asked somebody, you please go there and deliver this question in an envelope. May I clear that question?
Yes, do whatever you like, sir.
I wanted to know, and I have been trying to know this for some time. In Bombay also I put this question.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Here also I put this question, but I was not given the answer. That is why I put this question.
Yes, sir. What is the
Now
question?
my question is this. You have so many times repeated for 70 years that you do not convince anybody of anything. Number one, you are not a teacher. You don't teach anything to anybody. Now I say that the centers of KFI, whose president you are, and you are still living, you have not died.
I'm glad.
You are still living. And now they say that here come, they invite the public. Here are the teachings of Krishnamurti. Here are the teachings of Krishnamurti. And you study here what he has to say. He has discovered so many things. Please come here and try to study, and we will provide you a library or free teaching or whatever it is. When you say you work as a mirror, when I use a magnifying glass, does the magnifying glass help me? It does help me. The light is helping me. So you are clearing certain things. Are you not helping? Are these things not your teaching? They are evidently your teaching. So there is no harm if you say you are a teacher, because you are teaching something, you are clearing something. You yourself say that you work as a mirror. Anything which works as a mirror, definitely that mirror is helping me.
Yes, sir.
That is my question.
So, what is the question?
Function is a mirror. So, the mirror helps the person. You are a mirror.
So, sir, in all his talks, Kay has emphasized the fact that is merely a mirror. Right, sir? That is merely a mirror reflecting what your life is. Right? And he has also said you can break up that mirror if you have seen yourself very clearly. This mirror is not important. But what has happened throughout the world, the little world, they all want to be on the bandwagon. You know what that means? All want to share in the circus. So I say, please, don't bother. Just listen to the teaching. If somebody wants to do something, form a little center in Gujarat, let him do it. But he has no power to say that he represents K, that he's a follower. You can say anything he likes. He's free to do what he likes. We are not imposing on anybody that they should do this, do that. If anybody, say for instance, he starts, buys video and all the rest of it, in his house he collects a few friends. That's his affair. We're not saying don't do this, do that. If anybody did that, I'd say sorry, don't do it. But they like to do this. They like to be interpreters, gurus in their little way. You know, all the game you all play. So if you want to do that, you're perfectly welcome to do it. But the foundation, unfortunately I happen to belong to it, or fortunately, the foundation says you're free to do what you like. You understand, sir? Buy books, read books, burn books of K. Do anything you like. It's in your hand. If you want to live it, live it. If you don't want to live it, it's all right. It's your business. Right? It is clear for once and for all. That the foundation has no authority over your life to tell you what to do or what not to do. Or say this is the center from which all radiation goes, like radio station or television station. We are not that. All that we are saying is, here is something, maybe original, maybe not original. Here is something for you to look at. Take time to read it, take time to understand it. If you are not interested, throw it away. It doesn't matter. You have wasted 25 rupees, that's all. But if you like to live that way, live it. If you don't, just drop it. Don't make a lot of noise around it. You understand what I'm saying, sir? Don't make circus about it. So, dance and a song. That I've understood, you haven't done. I'll tell you all about it. You understand what I'm saying, sir? Right, sir? So, it's time to stop. Now, if I may ask, what have you got out of this morning's talk, discussion? Nothing or something?
So, looking to the question, still I am with the question, but thinking stops itself.
What?
Looking at the question, I'm still with the question, but the thinking stops.
Yes, sir, good. I'm just asking, sir, what have you all got out, flowered in you after all this morning? Like a flower, overnight blooms, right? What has bloomed in you? What has come out of you?
That we should have a habit of thinking together, just we had to read.
Did you really think together? Huh?
Yes, I did.
Together, you and I. Or you were talking to yourself.
I was talking to myself also.
Yes. So I'm just asking, you don't have to tell the speaker anything. I'm just asking, politely, if I may. We have met for over an hour, talked together, said many things according to our opinions. At the end of the journey of this morning, where are you? Where we started, where we ended, or there is a new flowering? That's all, sir. That's all. I'm not going to say, oh, you haven't or you have. That'd be impudence on my part. Right, sir. May we get up presently? I'd like to tell you a lot of things, but we don't have time. Have you ever considered what is creation and what is invention? You don't think in these terms. What is creation? And what is creation? And what is the relationship between invention and creation? Because the speaker was invited to Los Alamos in Mexico, New Mexico, in America. There is the center there where Einstein, Oppenheimer and others first invented the atom bomb. You understand what I'm saying? Are you interested in it? Yes. Good. The speaker was invited there. Tremendous honor and all blah, blah, blah. The first question they asked, want to talk or whatever about 900 top scientists there. And they asked me to talk first time. So the question was, what is the relationship of creation to science? You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Creation and science. I said there is no relationship at all. There is a relationship between invention and science, not creation. You understand my question? You just listen. You know, sir, 900 top scientists. I said, invention is based on knowledge. You understand? On knowledge. And creation is not. Don't bother to tell me what it is. I won't discuss it with you for the moment. And we went to it. The next day they asked me, they handed me 15 questions. And it took those scientists, I believe they told me afterwards, about a month to put 15 questions. You understand? Top scientists. And the first question was, what relationship has meditation with science? Not like you. It's not meditation, they wanted to know. That was the first question. And the last question was, What would you do, Kay? What would you do if you were the head of this institution, which is the National Laboratory of America, where they have to safeguard the country? They invent the first invention going on, neutron bombs, hydrogen bombs, every type of bomb. And also they produce the submarines, mathematics, super, ultra, mechanical intelligence. It's a tremendous affair. They said, what place has meditation in science? And what would you do if you were the head of it, of this institution? Knowing that you have to protect the country, knowing that you have to be ahead of anybody else. You understand what I'm saying? Technologically, originally, new submarines, new war planes, all that. So the speaker said, thank God he's not in that position. And he went into the whole problem. That you're asking this question at the end of the events, not at the beginning. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Or this all Greek to you? What is, if you had asked this question right at the beginning, perhaps you wouldn't be doing all this. So they're still at it, talking about what I said, what Kay said. And also he was invited to United Nations second or third time. You know the phrase, pacem in terris? No, you don't. It means in Latin, peace on earth, which is the Pope everlastingly talking about it. So they asked me to talk about it. At the end of the talk, in which Kay said, nations cannot be united. Right? Nations can fight each other, which they are doing. Therefore, there can only be peace on earth when there are no nationalities. They all agree, clap and blah, blah. Then one of their top men gets up and says, I have a great privilege to listen to this gentleman on all this stuff. And he said, after listening to this speaker, I heard him last year, I have come to the conclusion, after 40 years of hard work in this institution, which is United Nations, he said, I have come to the conclusion never to kill another man. After 40 years. And you are going to do exactly the same thing. Right? It will take 40 years to see a very simple fact, if I may most respectfully point out. It's an extraordinary world, sir. You don't seem to realize. It's a marvelous world. The earth, beautiful, rich, vast plains, deserts, rivers, mountains, and glory of the land. And human beings are set to kill each other for the rest of their lives, right? And if you were in charge of this country, where you live, if you go on like this, you would keep on the pattern repeating, killing, killing, killing. You may repeat most marvelous poems in Sanskrit. I do too. And all that is not worth a cent if you don't live it. That's all. I'm sorry I kept you waiting. May I get up?